Hello everyone, and welcome again to English with Joseph. Today we're going to start a series of talking about some very famous individuals in the Western world. When I say very famous, probably they won't be so famous, but I hope it will be something we can learn together. The first person I would like to talk about today is a woman, and her name is Mary Baker Eddy. Mary Baker Eddy is a very famous woman from the history of the United States of America. Mary Baker Eddy was born in 1821 and she died in 1910. Mary Baker Eddy achieved a lot in her life. First of all, she was an author, and she wrote a very famous book called Science and Health. I have a copy of it here. The copy I have is the Dutch version. Science and Health with Key to the Scriptures. Mary Baker Eddy came from a very religious family. She was born in 1821 in a place called Bow in New Hampshire in America. She's very famous for writing this book, Science and Health with Key to the Scriptures, but she also founded a very famous American daily newspaper. It's called the Christian Science Monitor. These days, it's known as the Monitor. She also founded two religious journals, the Christian Science Sentinel and the Journal of Christian Science. Her book, Science and Health with Key to the Scriptures, remains one of the most read and most translated books in the world. This book is written to give a new interpretation of the Bible. Mary Baker Eddy, when she was in her 40s, in 1866 I think it was, she slipped on ice and she was going to die. She opened her Bible, as she was a religious woman, and she read the story of a man being healed. When she read this story, she began to feel better. As she began to feel better, she got up and she got dressed and she joined the family for dinner. She got up and she got dressed, she put her clothes on, and she joined the family, that is to say the people she was staying with at the time, for dinner. Everyone was so shocked because they were sure she was about to die. They were so sure she was about to die that they had placed her clothes to wear on her body for her funeral on the bed already. They were so sure that she was going to die that already they had arranged her funeral clothes. So, she wanted to know what had healed her. She wanted to know why she was able to get well after reading this passage in the Bible. So she started to investigate religion, she started to investigate metaphysics, and she began to do very deep research on who God was. And her results are contained in her book, Science and Health with Key to the Scriptures. She started writing the book in 1875, and in 1910 the final edition was published, and it went through lots and lots and lots of different editions. Also, in her collection of works, there is something called prose works, which contains her miscellaneous writings, her messages to her church. After she wrote this book, she became convinced that she had found the true answer to Christian healing. Because she herself had been healed, she wanted to heal other people, and she became a very famous healer in the 19th century. She became so famous that her name was known across the world. She tried to persuade all of the churches about the messages which she had been giving her followers. She tried to persuade the churches to read her book because she felt if she could heal people, so could everyone else. So she wrote to all of the churches, but unfortunately, because she was a woman living in the 19th century, no one believed her. So she started to heal people, and that brought many people to her. Finally, what happened was she arranged a church, and that church began to flourish, but she did not like organized religion. So as it became more organized, she immediately disbanded it. That means to dissolve it. When she dissolved it, the same thing happened. Many more people were around her because she had healed them, and they too were learning how to heal. She gave class instruction, and she was the first woman in history to link sickness with the belief which is contained in a person's mind. So for her, sickness was a belief, it was not reality. And this opened the door for the New Age movement. Mary Baker Eddy was living in what is called now the New Thought movement, and that developed into what we know today as the New Age movement. So, the second time she started her church, and this time she built a church in Boston, Massachusetts, in the United States of America. The church was very successful, and she built an extension onto the side of the church. She only entered this church once or twice, and the extension she never entered at all. She couldn't even pass it without feeling very, very ill, because it was such an extension of her personality and her life and her beliefs. The church today is still operational. It is known as the First Church of Christian Science. Actually, it is called the First Church of Christ Scientist in Boston, Massachusetts, and it has many other branch churches around the world. Many people feel that this church, over the course of time, has lost the message which Mary Baker Eddy had given to the world, because no one has heard of it anymore, because it's not really healing anymore. So, many people have broken away from this institution to form their own Christian Science churches, such as the one in Plainfield, New Jersey. There's many other internet-based Christian Science churches also. And they have their own publications and their own services. Mary Baker Eddy finally died in 1910. There had been many court cases involving her. One was to do with hypnosis, and another one was to do with the medical profession. But Mary Baker Eddy, it is documented, she healed many, many people, and her book Science and Health, with Key to the Scriptures, along with the Bible, she declared the pastor of her church. Well, I hope that gives you some information on a very famous American woman called Mary Baker Eddy. Thank you and goodbye.